yeah. So Rob, let's pose a scenario to you. So, for context, you own 3 gun shops. For how long now have you been in FFL?
16 years.
So, well, I guess we could ask. I mean, have you ever had a firearm on your books go missing, like unexplained,
that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have things happen.
I mean,
Yeah.
lose it, misplace it,
No.
whatever.
Never had one lost like that.
Okay.
Had them stolen, yes.
Yeah. Well, and you
Have
just
they come up misplaced? 100%.
Sure.
Usually,
inventory
it's-
management issues.
yeah. Usually, it's not even an inventory management issue. It's a paperwork or a logging issue.
Like it got disposed inappropriately or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or transposes another number. That happens. That's going to happen. You have a human element touching the firearm. That's going to happen.
So the scenario goes, you realize that one of your serialized lowers, pistol, whatever it is, a serialized firearm on your books is unaccounted for. Unknown why. What are your protocols and how do you go about handling it?
Well, protocol for us would be, one, we would be printing out every single firearm on the book. So the book would just get printed and then we'd go into a full scale audit.
So you have to audit every serialized.
We would touch every single gun. Every single piece of inventory with a serial number on it would get, that could be a, fire control group. That could be a lower, pistol, rifle, shotgun, other.
Okay.
Suppressor. That's going to get audited 100%.
100%.
Every stitch of inventory is going to get touched.
Yep.
Okay.
Once you come up with something that you cannot find, then there is protocol. So
like at the ATF level.
So there's a component. One, they want you to work with your local law enforcement first.
Okay.
And then 2, you have 48 hours of a lost or stolen item to report that to the ATF.
So if you find something that's unaccounted for, but then you find that it was just like behind a box or got counted twice or something like that, and it's in 48 hours, you don't have to report it.
You don't have to report it, no.
But it's after 48 hours and it's still
Yeah, so
for.
as the law is written, you have 48 hours to notify ATF of any lost or stolen items.
And
that could be a clerical error.
Right.
There couldn't be.
It doesn't have to be like felonious or like nefarious
right.
or,
But they want to know about it, and
so then what happens? Like, is there an investigation? Do they assign an agent to come and?
they could. I can tell you, matter of factly, that the robbery that we just had, where they got off with two pistols, we reported it to local law enforcement immediately, obviously, because that was a situation where it was actually a robbery. And then
it was kind of like a smash and grab type deal. They didn't break.
No,
anything. They were like testing them out.
They tested them out and they ran out the door with them.
Yeah,
fuckers.
So we are lucky, in that aspect, that there was no shots fired, that there was no threat, an imminent threat at that moment, because it could have went way worse than it did. Thank goodness. But that incident, right? So you call local law enforcement. They came out. They responded. And then we had 48 hours. Once we figured out what was missing, what serial numbers, what guns, and we had all the facts, then we sent it to ATF.
Got it.
And to be honest with you, we haven't heard anything from ATF. So it gets reported to the National Tracing Center, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to send out, to all nationally, so if that gun is ever used in a crime or if it ever comes up in a traffic
the serial
stop.
numbers available for reference.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for that, if you thought something was nefarious going on, like if you had video of an employee or, a customer, somebody stealing a firearm, obviously you're going to go at that. But you should already, as an FFL, and I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned a lot over the years, different policies and procedures that we actually have put in place.
Sure, yeah.
Policies are always out of a mishap, usually. Policies written
a
out of a
learned
mishap.
lesson.
Yeah, a learned lesson.
Ask me why this rule exists, right?
Exactly. So it's I'm not saying we're perfect. Things happen.
Yeah.
And but no, I've never had one just come up blatantly missing.
So go ahead. I saw you.
So let me frame a little bit different of a hypothetical. Say you have an employee, and that employee was responsible for said firearm, and somehow it got misplaced, what's your first step with that employee and or looking into what's going on?
Like,
Well,
if that's all the facts you really have, like,
Yeah.
he was responsible for it, doesn't know where it's at.
Well, obviously, so there's a whole lot of things here. So are we talking about a receiving or a shipping?
Shipping.
So usually there would be, let's just back up. Let's say somebody went on my website. They purchased a handgun. Okay. They're obviously it's gonna trigger a sale. So it's gonna get, multiple people are gonna get notified that a sale just occurred.
ShopBlackRifle.com. Shameless plug.
Shameless
Smart.
plug. So
Good one.
multiple people in the organization are going to know that there was a firearm that was just sold.
Okay.
And then it's going to trigger, it's going to go into a queue. It's going to sit there for a second until somebody at one of the, so how we do it, all of our inventory is live. It's pulled from every single one of our stores. So each manager is going to get notified. The shipping and receiving manager is going to get notified. And then the assistant manager is going to get notified of that sale. So depending on
you
and myself, I know of it goes right to my phone on every single sale. So each store if the stores all have the exact same inventory, usually it's going to pull out of the store that is either closest to the customer, so it's cheaper to ship. For us internally, or the store that has the most inventory, we're just going to pull it out of there. So that store's not sitting on the inventory. So whatever store manager or assistant manager assigns that item, then it's automatically going to get pulled. Okay, it's going to go to shipping and receiving. Shipping and receiving is going to call the FFL that they are asking it to be shipped to. We're going to get a license. For that, we're going to get their FFL. We're going to do an easy check, make sure that FFL is actually licensed and they are current. And then we are going to create a shipping label through ShipStation.
So it's all tracked in multiple avenues.
Yeah. Yes.
So at what point, if there was let's say an inventory discrepancy, so you're unable to account for a serialized item that's on your books, at what point would you start pointing fingers at an individual? And then at what point would you look towards pressing charges and having that individual involved with law enforcement?
I would have to have solid evidence that an employee, first of all, knowingly committed a crime or tried to steal an item.
So that's really the threshold. It's willfully, knowingly.
Well, so there's so many people. We have so many employees.
Right.
And all the employees, their role in the company, depending if they're sales, they're touching guns,
right,
they're touching inventory.
But if your inventory manager just had their spreadsheet mixed up in two lines,
could happen.
It absolutely could happen, right? Where people,
it's
listen, super easy to.
Yesterday,
you read 6.9 as 9.6, and it's
Well, this just happened to me yesterday, and this wasn't a firearm. This was just Hollow Sun. We got a huge case of Hollow Suns in yesterday, and there was multiple discrepancies on the serial numbers, either from Hollow Sun or from the distributor where we got them. They didn't match the invoice,
right?
And there was 3 of those. So I personally checked in that order. We were busy yesterday. I personally opened up the box. I set the inventory on the table like we always do. And I personally went down and checked every serial number on those Hollow Suns, and 3 of them were not correct.
Yeah.
So stop everything that you're doing right now. You pull those aside.
Reconcile
what we do have, what is correct, and then you move on. So then that goes over to the assistant manager. I gave it to Will, said, hey, we need to call.
So nobody's getting arrested unless they stole.
I don't. So let's just address the elephant in the room.
Wait, do we have to pay for this?
Yeah, we might have to pay for it.
Head over to Patreon.
I'm very confused on how a gentleman got arrested.
Right.
One, how you call the police on your own employees.
Unless you know that they stole a firearm
that quickly.
You better have evidence, cameras.
Yeah.
One, I don't even know how this thing goes down. I wouldn't even. I don't even know that I would ever call the police on my employees in the first place. I mean, literally, unless there was multiple incidents where you have them dead to rights.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this thing could kind of blow up on these people.
Yep.
I don't know. It just seems I mean, we can throw the name out. I don't really care if you guys want to.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take that risk.
Throw
The GBRS Group.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
having
dude, I
people
used
arrested.
to really look up to these guys. They make some great content.
Yeah.
They do a lot of good in the training aspect from
Yeah.
where they've came from
For the civilian community.
for the
yeah.
civilians.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
like we've
It's hard to not be. It's hard to be in this situation where I'm like annoyed at them.
bro, I just don't even understand how this could go down. That's why I'm trying to not cast judgment on this situation but bro, there's like 3 different incidences now that have come up that are very similar to this.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I was just aware of those current ones.
And it's kind of hard to like in this space, right? The gun community is kind of a small place, right? You run into these guys at SHOT Show.
Yep.
You're coursing back and forth with them on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
They've asked us questions. We've asked, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're sending your customers, hey, this might be a good training course for you. These guys make a great mount. Hey, there's people that I know that are personally on their Patreons. They're Patreon members.
Yeah, they're paying
right.
for their.
And then something like this comes up, and
That's
it's
why
not like I want to distance myself from them, but I want to get to the facts. That's why I told Shipley this morning. I said, "Hey, dude, like I called him out, like from my work page. Like I've been doing this 16 years. There's not ever been an incident where I've thought that I needed to call the police on one of my employees."
Well, that's why I posed the question that way. It's like, in what scenario does it get to that point?
You better have fucking hardcore evidence.
Yeah, and part of it too is, all that video footage is available, all the body cam footage and stuff,
Right.
and
Which is not great.
it's not great. And the employee was genuinely looked surprised and
Yeah.
confused, almost as if he didn't really have a whole lot of dialogue about the subject prior to.
Yeah, you would think that the conversation would be thoroughly had prior to.
Now I'm just trying to figure out too, how did that product come up in a door or in a drawer,
and then they found it in a
right
drawer.
after the cops had been called or whatever?
In one of the owner's offices.
Which, I mean, did
Well,
the guy put it back in the drawer? I mean, there's so many things that we don't know that are
Right,
unknown.
for sure.
Right, absolutely.
But
But I do know
my
this.
whole point is, if this was a big a deal as they are making it out to be, why was it suppressed, right, from social media? It's none of our fucking business.
Well, their comments
Nobody's
were turned off
business.
for like a couple days.
Well, it's like
It was
they put,
suppressed.
They put
The
it
comments,
out online.
Exactly. The comments were suppressed. The comments were turned off. Why at that point, at that level, they have huge money backers.
Yeah.
Didn't their attorneys address the situation? Now they look like idiots,
Well,
in my opinion.
And now the full story is behind a paywall. So now I'm like, how much of this?
Well, they
is...
say he told me today directly.
Oh, he did. He responded to you.
He responded to me and said it will be available for everybody to see once the court case, once they're allowed to release it.
But they're allowed
Well,
but they're allowed to release it behind a paywall right now.
which is essentially, it's going to get leaked. The shit's
I
going to
don't
be on
know.
YouTube tomorrow.
I mean, I'm not trying to. It is what it is. Like it's their business.
It's just
but
it is
they-
their business.
they
It's
chose
none of
to-
our
but they
business.
chose to put it
However,
online.
it is our business when we are referring people to them and
Yeah.
you're telling people about them. And it's just like Yeti back in the day. It's like we were huge Yeti. I still love Yeti to this day.
I've got a ton of Yeti stuff.
I don't sell it
because they stopped
anymore.
selling to the NRA, which is funny because now all of us hate the NRA.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just it just puts us retailers in a situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You get stuck with a bunch of inventory because people don't want to buy it. Then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Well-
tough. I mean, I remember when Yeti went down with the NRA and it was like there were so many narratives out there about what was going on with Yeti.
Bro, Yeti is a great company.
Yeah, and I remember specifically because you were still in Rockland,
Dude,
when it went down, and you had so much
inventory, dude. It's crazy. And how that shit just cuts off like a switch
Yeah.
when something happens like that. And I'm not passing judgment on these guys
Yeah,
yet, but I just don't know how you get from point A to
be
point
seen.
B and somebody goes to jail and then, it's not just our optics. That guy's GoFundMe. I don't even know the employee's name.
Yeah.
His GoFundMe was at some point was like over 50 grand the last time I looked at it.
It's still climbing too, I think.
So, I
actually.
mean,
crazy.
I'm not the only one. The optics just don't look great. And,
No, I agree.
so I just don't know how that happens. Doing this for 16 years, things happen. there are going to be shipments that get lost.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
I mean, and maybe they were well within,
They could be.
the realm.
I would
of
like to hear
reason.
more because you know what? I could learn from that as a business owner.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? But I still, I don't know how do you get to that point where the cops are called, people are getting handcuffed, their employees are getting handcuffed.
Well, and it's
and
like
getting
right
carted
now,
off.
like we're definitely like, Sunday morning quarterbacks, like, or armchair quarterbacks or whatever it's called. Like,
Yeah.
like we see very segmented pieces of information. It's like the body cam footage doesn't look great, but like the body cam footage for George Floyd didn't look great. You know
That's
what I mean?
very true.
Yeah.
Like,
But I can tell you this personally, there are other situations that have come up that don't look good either, and
Right.
within their own
Yeah.
organization, and then people have left that organization and have spoke about it. It's a lot on Reddit. I mean, there's a lot of information that
yeah.
I mean,
God, I love Reddit.
we'll see how
Dude,
this
that's not my
comes. Yeah, I'm not a big Reddit guy, but
You got to be
articles
careful on Reddit.
articles
So,
get sent
real
to
talk
me.
with Rob subreddit.
Yeah,
We should
I'm
start
sure.
one. Just
Oh,
let
there's a
you-
lot of people out there that don't fucking like me, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. They don't pay my bills, so
No, I like your new handle though. Real talk. That's a good one.
That's a good one. It is.
After
I was
they've
thinking I
taken-
need to change mine.
they've taken all my
Other ones?
Instagrams
Well, it's
away.
only a
So
matter of
Rob-
time.
What was it? Rob Top
Rob
Gun?
Top Gun,
Slinger?
Rob _ Top Gun Slinger,
Yeah, that's
something
right.
2.0, whatever.
Yeah,
It's been like
3.0,
3.04. Yeah.
Just infinite
Can you
infinity signs.
subscribe to my backup to my backup to my
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope this thing works out for both parties
Yeah.
because being a business owner, things
Well,
are tough.
and-
It's always
and-
tough.
And honestly, like our industry, just not even the industry, like the money making industry, but like getting the general public comfortable with the firearm community in general.
Yeah.
We just
like,
don't need this.
We can't afford this stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just one more tick.
yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that makes me more curious about than anything was the employee of the topic handled everything with so much grace. And all we have available to us is what is out currently.
Yeah.
Right. So what I have available in my knowledge, what's going on is just tons of body cam footage and just watching that and being like, wow, he was polite. He was well-spoken. He was calm. He was like, yeah, he got let out and he's like, oh, I'm happy just not to be in handcuffs.
Right.
Well, I mean,
He handled it pretty well and he didn't seem extremely angry, which could go for me one of two ways. Maybe he has slipped up a few times in the past, maybe.
Or maybe
And-
he just knows how to handle himself and he's a mature individual.
Or he's a mature individual that's genuinely like, I didn't do anything wrong. So
Right.
why would I be freaked out?
well, and then it goes back to this too. So I start thinking, devil's advocate too. On the other side, it's like, shit, should I start doing an inventory every week? You know what I mean? And trying to see if something's walked out the door. I'm not there every day. And I have 3 stores, 3 different states with lots of employees.
yeah, you have a lot. You have to put a lot of
You know what I
faith
mean?
as
So,
an owner
Yeah, you
in your
do.
staff.
But that's why you have policies and procedures and, you adhere to those things. And you have to trust in your staff because if you don't,
What do you
I can't
got?
be there every
Yeah.
day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this thing shakes up. I hope it works out for both of them. I hope it doesn't cost either side a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'll be eating my words, but
Well, I mean,
We'll see. I hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
I really do hope so because I like those guys.
it doesn't
like
look
the
good.
content they put out
I just
quite a
don't like the way it makes the industry look. It doesn't make them look good.
yeah.
Yeah. By any means.
Well, fortunately, there's people like me that'll still go like, oh, that was a horrible situation.
bit. Oh, for sure.
And I'll still watch all those DJ Shipley videos because they're filmed great. And,
yeah,
and his insight and how he delivers shit is just like his delivery is easy for, again, going back to not being a smart man. I'm not saying he's not smart, but his delivery
It's
is
easy
just
to
like,
consume.
yeah, oh, okay, message received. And I could agree and disagree,
Right.
but it's like, okay, cool. And also, like their risers, like you think that if I didn't like them and that riser is
Dude,
available, I'll still buy that
There's
shit.
they got a lot of product.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call it, but like they're working with a lot of companies on
Yeah.
their products. So.
I'll still buy their shit. if
We'll
it's
see.
needed
Let's
on my
hope
gun.
it shakes out and it's good. I don't like, the information that gets let out there and then suppressing. I mean, dude, the internet's a fucking wild place.
No, it's
Volatile.
We talked about this yesterday in the pod. I mean, there's a lot of fake ass shit out there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's
That's my biggest thing. I really hope it's just not a grab for attention.
bro.
Man, what a good one.
It's not.
It
Yeah.
would be good. I mean, we're talking the entire fucking gun community is talking about this shit.
Yeah.
I've had clients come in here that are
You're like, "What?"
relatively new to the gun community and to firearms in general. Like, hey, do you know who DJ Shipley is? Have you seen this stuff on the internet? And I'm just like, yeah, man, this is every single person in the
Bro, and
industry's
I've
feeds.
got personal friends that are like drinking the Kool-Aid, like literally subscribing to everything that they do. They eat Patreon,
Yeah.
like bringing in their gear, like try to get us hooked up with them and wanting me to carry all their stuff in the store. And it's like, dude, I got a lot of things on my plate, and that is not one of them. But I have referred people to their training.
Sure, yeah.
I've referred people to that mount that they've made.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shit talk on that mount too. Like,
I use it.
it's just there's a ton of people. I mean, let's just hope this thing works itself out.
Yeah.
They can fix this, and then they'll come out with a statement, and they'll come out with more evidence that.
This is level-headed Rob over here. I'm waiting for like fire in the eye.
No, dude, it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing these type of things in my space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
For sure.
Right? Like,
It's not a good look for anyone.
no.
No.
This business
Because
is
the reality is it does cast a bad light on you too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe not directly, but at least indirectly.
Yeah, no, I had a conversation with a customer today on my personal page about this. We went back and forth, and he's like, well, this is not something on you. Well, it kind of is.
Right.
When you are referring people to these people,
Yep.
you're referring their trainings, their products, and things like that, and you have personal knowledge of other things behind the scenes,
Yep.
which I can't go into, but there's some other things of other products that we sell that somebody was involved in at that level with them. So I don't like those things in this space, because running this space in the gun community is very difficult.